Right, here we are on a Monday. All right, Michael, got your customary red on. Is that considered tiger red?
I don't know what tiger red is, and I'm probably the last person in the world. Is that a shade of? I'm like, I don't know. It's red. It looks good to me.
No, it's Tiger Woods when he was back in his heyday and he would roll up on Sunday for the final round. He would wear that customary red shirt to let everybody know that it's Sunday.
Look, all I'm gonna say is that no, it's not tiger red because I'm not trying to pay anybody royalties. So absolutely not.
Oh my. Okay, let's see here. I think we are live on all the platforms. And let's get ready to roll. All right. Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast. This is a very special episode, and we're going to get into it right now. Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast. This is a very special Monday edition, which means there must be something special to report, and that is true. I am joined by Michael Crean from Solutions Granted, who just recently capped off the unprecedented three-peat of the ASCII Cup. And he has dubbed himself Michael the Winner Crean. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. That was quite the intro you had there. That was awesome.
Yeah, the only thing I did not have was the deep theatrical voice of, the ASCII Cup. And maybe I'll work on that and do something for later and add that to it. But yep, here we are. You just wrapped up ASCII Edge for 2023, ended up in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend. And we talked about it, that if you guys were to, pull off the three-peat, that I was going to track you down and we were going to do an interview. We were going to do an interview there on site, but that did not happen. So let me first ask, how is it the weekend after? How are you feeling? Was there debauchery after winning the cup?
Not much debauchery. It's one of these is tough. Like I would say that like, if we were out of town somewhere, there probably would have been a lot more debauchery because that's home for me. Like I knew I had to get up the next morning. I got to take kids to school. I got stuff I got to do. I'm going to drive myself home. So, couldn't let Johnny Law come after me because I had too much fun.
All right. If people are listening to this by audio later, you'll have to go back and catch the video replay. It will be on the YouTube. I'll have a link in the show notes that you can go see that. And we show some of the past of the ASCII Cup, and we show you guys winning in 2021, repeating in 2022, which I believe nobody at that time had ever done a repeat. Do you know that to be true?
That's what I was told. I was told that nobody had done. I mean, I will say we know for a fact nobody's done a three-peat. That
Right.
one I'll step out on the ledge and somebody can fact check me, but that one I think I know for sure.
All right. And for those who do not know what the ASCII Cup is, in a sense, it is a culmination of the year's events where ASCII does their 8, 9, or 10 events throughout the year. And at the end of each conference, the vendors get awards that are voted on by the attendees. So this is not something that, is just kind of one of those industry awards that just kind of mysteriously pops up. This is voted on at the conference that you attend by the attendees, which is primarily managed service providers, prospects, IT specialists. So this is definitely an award given to you by the people.
That's it. This
And
is by the people for the people, Marv.
uh, so let me ask one of these questions that, of course, is obligatory. What is it that you think keeps you in fond respect of managed service providers and IT professionals?
I think I just tell the truth and I'm honest to who I am. Sometimes it's honest to a fault, but you know, I'm not, for me, the best way I know how to sell is to educate, is to just try to be real and make everything that we do make sense through life stories. It seems to resonate. I'm definitely not doing death by PowerPoint. Everybody that knows me knows that's not how I roll. So, you know, I, I don't know. It seems to resonate and it works for people. Thank goodness, because I really don't know how to do it any other way.
Well, let me ask you the second part of that question is you as the CEO, make it a point to be at as many of these events as possible with the ever growing number of conferences that there are. Let me first ask, how do you do it?
It's not that hard. Well, first of all, when you enjoy something, it doesn't feel like work. And I do enjoy what I do. I have a great passion for this mission that we're on to help MSPs secure their clients. And because I believe in it and I know that we're doing some good things for the right reasons, it just feels easy. I mean, I know that sounds silly because it's not easy at the end of the day, but it really doesn't feel like this is work, to be honest.
So I guess that kind of leads into the second part of that, which was going to be why do you do it? Because so many other companies, you don't see the CEOs there, you see the minions there. So
Mhm.
I imagine I would see you sending, Corey, Lisa Loco, uh, what's his name, Andre the Giant, your WWE guy.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah. We send Dolph Lundgren. Don't you worry. You better not mess around when he's there.
uh, but you're the one. I mean, yeah, there's one or two that you miss from time to time, but if I had to guess, I would put you at 90% plus in attendance at all these conferences. So the question really is why? Why you?
I think it's important. Like, look, um, definitely not a politician, so I don't want this to come off that way, but I want to hear from my partners. I want to hear what's wrong. And I do, occasionally I'll show up at a show and somebody just immediately comes and seeks me out. It's like, hey, I got a bone to pick with you. Cool. Let's have that discussion. What I can do to fix this. I don't flip switches. I don't program software. I don't stay awake at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday like my SOC analyst and my threat hunters do. What can I do? I can be the voice and face of the organization. And I'm sorry that I'm the face of the organization because it's not a pretty face. Like, look, nobody's keeping me around for my magnetic personality or my charming good looks. But I think it's important, like the things that I learned through these 22 years of being the CEO and founder, the companies that made themselves available to me, um, there's just certain companies out there and certain CEOs and executive leaders that they pick up the phone, they call, they text, they make themselves available. And that's who I want to be. I don't want to become detached from this and sit in my ivory tower. I want to walk the line and lead from the front.
Now, that sounds easy, but I have to imagine that there are times where it's difficult because listen, we're in a period of vendor bashing, and I'll be
Hmm.
honest, I've started to do some myself. I tried not to, but it's hard when things go wrong, or when you feel like you're taken advantage of, or if the vendor's not listening. You know, you know. I mean, I know it's gonna come back to me somehow, but billing issues, updates stop working and stuff. It is not hard to start bashing.
Right.
I guess is
It
the
isn't.
best way to say it.
Yeah, it's actually very easy. I mean, I think you see this almost as a societal norm, if you will. You see it in the news. Like, think about this. When's the last time you turned on the national news and there was a 30-minute segment of make you feel good? And there's a lot of good things that happen around this planet. There's a lot of people just doing some insanely amazing stuff. But how often do we hear that? I heard it from somebody who's worked the news for a very long time, and it's that idea of if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I think maybe we've had a little bit of this conditioning that's been done to us that we fall to that negative mindset instead of that positive mindset. And that's another reason that I'm doing what I'm doing because I do look, I say it all the time. I am bound to make 800 mistakes a day. If I've got to make 2,000 decisions in a day, some of them are going to be mistakes. What I hope is that people see the intent to not make the mistake, but when I make the mistake, I'm going to learn something from that today. And tomorrow, when I wake up, I am not doing that again. And if I can act like that and present myself that way, maybe that allows somebody else to present themselves that way. And then maybe we don't always just go to the negative first. I mean, now, if you've got a vendor that's not listening, they're not responding, and they show less than their intent to make it right, well, then I think somebody needs you know, a good public flogging, if you will, because public embarrassment sometimes can be a great motivator.
Well, that is true, and like I said, I've started to do it myself. I try not to, partly because, you know, even though this is just my little podcast, it
Mhm.
is, kind of like a media deal, and we should try to be respectful. I get to see both sides. I get to see and chat with you behind the scenes at some of these events that most IT professionals don't. But at the same time, I'm trying to run a business, and I need it to make sense. And when there are posts out there about, why can't we see pricing, or why do we have to get 100 calls after a conference, or that sort of thing, it's tough. Now, I saw that you did a piece with Bradley Gross, I
Mhm.
think it was 3 weeks ago, about
Yeah.
vendor education. But before I ask you about that, I wanted to get your head starting to think. Have you had conversations with other vendors about how these presentations are done, how vendors are perceived? Have you had chats with other vendors about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's some are more approachable than others. It also depends on who you're talking to because you don't want to come in with the holier than thou. Hey, look at me and look at what everybody says about me, because then that just comes off the wrong way. And so you have to make sure you understand the person and how you can communicate with them so that it feels like a good message. It's a delicate balance, especially if you don't know them, because then it just comes off as potentially bashing. So I try not to do that for sure. We see it, like, and we've all seen it. Like, you go to these conferences, and ASCII had this great idea at the beginning of the year, which I was super excited for, is that every single one of these presentations had to be educational and content, and it was in the agreement. Like, the contract you signed absolutely said it. And they didn't define, it has to be this many minutes of your 20 minutes or whatever it may be, but bring some education, and not just the education around, let me show you my portal. Let me show you how it's easy to install. Let me show you how you look at the reports. I mean, that stuff can be important, but truly give some value to people. Like, look, it's tough when you have to sit there for a whole entire day and it's just pitch after pitch after pitch. So, I think humor works really well, and you've got to give people something that is different than just buy my stuff. It's my opinion. And I think that's really the only reason that we're getting the love from the community the way that we are, because I'm a bit of a clown, and people know that about me. I mean, I'll do some just outrageous things, but it makes people remember you.
Well, that and the bourbon.
That might be one of our outrageous things. I mean, look at DattoCon. Lisa had us dressed up like we were lifeguards. We're walking around in shorts and boonie
Hmm.
hats, and we've got whistles. And it's like, man, the amount of people that have come around and like a couple weeks later, it's like, yeah, that was pretty funny. Like, yeah, okay, it was funny. That was probably my least favorite way that I was dressing up at a conference, but I get it. I mean, it makes sense and it
Yeah.
works.
All right. Yeah. So I just wanted to reference the fact that you at least are trying to acknowledge that. And you had that video with Bradley Gross
Hmm.
talking about helping businesses learn how to actually do business. And, you mentioned that, yeah, we get tired of pitches. I'll be honest. I stopped literally going to some conferences because I'm like, dude, I don't need another pitch.
Right.
And I don't need another 20 calls after the pitch. When just because you scan my badge doesn't mean, call me every day.
Come on, Marv, how do you think I'm supposed to make my money if I can't call you every day and just browbeat you into submission? I got to get you there somehow. No, but I agree with you. Like, here's where what frustrates me more than anything. Like, they'll somehow get the attendees list, and the vendors will sometimes end up in the attendees list. And somebody will call my office, and like, first of all, I'm giving away the trade secret here. Like, somebody calls the office and says, "Hey, I'm looking for Mike." And everybody knows I don't go by Mike. Like if somebody calls me that, I'll respond and I'm not going to be ignorant about it, but I go by Michael. Like that's what my mom and dad named me. That's what I go by. So when people call in and says, "Hey, Mike and I were just emailing back and forth," like, no, you weren't. Absolutely not. Or it was the, "Hey, I just saw Mike at the conference last week and he said he was really interested." It's like, you're full of crap. Like Mike wasn't interested in anything. And if Michael really had a conversation with you, then we were probably talking and I gave you my cell phone number and we were emailing back and forth because I'm not going to push you through my gatekeeper if I really want you.
Yeah, we get that a lot. I have to explain that to my gatekeeper because she'll be like, "Well, they just said you were, had a great conversation with them." Like, I have to remind her, said, "You remember, I'm the guy that runs by, grabs the swag, and moves on." So
Oh boy, you are a swag grabber at best too. I mean, like this is like a shopping event for you. Like I have seen you, but it's cool. So what? Oh, you did it at Paco's event, but
yeah,
you were trying to find the best swag. Like wait a
yeah,
second.
that's what.
Speaking of which, and I know this is off topic, who won the best swag?
So it wasn't you.
Come on,
It
man.
who was it? Actually, I'll have to go back and look at my notes. It
After all that work I did on the demo of our swag, I wasn't it. Man,
listen,
I want look, I want to recount and I'm calling the state's attorney general. That's what's happening here.
call whoever you want. It wasn't my conference, so I wasn't the final decision. I believe my vote only counted 40%.
Okay.
So it wasn't
All
enough.
right.
So we'll have to figure something out for next year. But your shirt is hanging up in my rafters. Um, I'm still waiting for my jacket. And I do believe I have the complete rainbow of multifaceted, multifunctional compass, flashlight, seat belt shredding pen or whatever, whatever else it does.
You're referring to my Swiss Army pen from China. I know what you're
Yes.
talking about.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, we're working on it, Mike. You were up there. There was definitely, listen,
I was
I
selling
do
it.
have to say this. Presentation is part of the score. And your
Yeah, it should
presentation
be.
was top notch. But again, as I said, not my complete vote. It's a
Okay.
community vote. So
All
next
right.
year
Just to be
we'll work
clear,
on it.
like it says it right there, and I didn't put that in there. I don't know who put the winner in there. I'm just going to say that showed up somehow. But look, I don't like to lose. I'm like, I really, really don't like to lose. So next year, I'm gonna have to do something different because I got to step it up, Marv. I got to do.
Well, hang
I mean,
on, hang on. We may not have to wait till next year. You're going to be at IT Nation, right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will be there, and I will do my swag run. And I do believe that this time my vote will be the only vote for best swag.
All right. So
So
you
there's
can
a
be
chance.
influenced, is what you're saying.
Yes.
All right. Marv, I'm
Yes.
bringing a bottle of bourbon just for you. I want to
Hey,
get you liquored up so
I
you can make some bad decisions, sir.
gotta replace what's on my shelf here. So, all right. Well, Mike, just wanted to say thank you for taking the time, and of course, congratulations for the three-peat. You can now consider yourselves the Chicago Bulls of the channel.
That's a pretty big title to have there. I feel honored. It's a really cool thing to be able to pull this off. Like the first time was unbelievable. Like Corey and I were looking at each other when it happened the first time. I was like, "There's no way. What do you mean we're in the top two? How is this even possible?" And it happened. It's like, oh man. Last year I kind of felt really good. Like I just felt like it had been a good year. We really knocked it out of the park. I got really nervous this year. It came down to us and CyberGuard 360, and Al and I are standing there, and it's like, man, I just don't know. I have no idea. I'm like literally nervous, like stomach kind of, and it happened, and it's just cool that the channel thinks this highly of us, and that's really it's humbling.
Well, that is saying something because Al Arper has definitely made some waves this year, and he also too attends just about every event. So yeah,
Mhm. And I'll
you're
tell you what,
supposed to.
his education is fantastic. Like the way he educates people for the states that we're in at those conferences and how he starts bringing around that idea of what's happening in these individual states. Like that dude's class act. He does a good job.
Yes, he is. Listen, your minions are actually paying attention. There was a comment earlier, Mike, never heard of him. And then it writes, bourbon must be, let's see, bourbon must count towards the giveaways.
Uh-huh.
So, okay. We'll see how
I'm
that
look,
is.
and we're always doing a bourbon tasting as well. We'll bring several bottles. Like, look, I'm just playing the game. I'm trying to be everything that I can be and just playing the game,
I
sir.
see how you are. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Who's going to be attending IT Nation with you?
So Corey will be there, Brian will be there, Lisa will be there, and I will be there.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh. Lisa Loco. All right.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
Yeah. You want to be starting something, you better. All right, Mike. I again, I want to say thank you. I know we are short on time here. I did want to, along with the congratulations, mention that you have been a class act as long as I've known you, and you have done exactly what you said in terms of going after things and getting things done, fixing problems when they come up. You have been very complimentary of other vendors in the channel that are doing it great, and I appreciate that. And in all honesty, folks, if you want clear transparency, I am a partner of Solutions Granted, but I am a tiny, tiny little partner. I do not have a ton of business with them, and they don't give me anything, so I'm not just blowing smoke up Mr. Michael's behind. So
Everybody's got a home, Uncle Marv. That's the whole point of this. Like,
yeah.
I don't need you to spend millions of dollars with me. Now, if you had it, I would love you. I'll get you different bourbon, but I'm just going to say everybody's got a home with us. That's why we do what we do. We think it's really important to make sure that we're leading from the front with education and opportunity.
All right. So I have put the link in the show notes. I've shown it on the screen there. If you guys ever have an interest in Solutions Granted, the three-peat ASCII Cup winner, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And just don't be like LeBron and be like, not 3, not 4, not 5.
I don't know what next year is going to bring. Like I'm not making any bold, I'm not making any bold promises or decisions today. I'm going to just live in the moment.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, folks. I'm going to let Mike get going here. Thank you all for tuning in for this very special IT Business podcast. We'll be back Wednesday with a live show. And of course, stay tuned. Head over to itbusinesspodcast.com and find all of your previous shows, your links, your information, and all of that. So we'll see you. Mike, have fun.
Thank you, sir.
And everybody else,
Good.
take care, and we'll see you soon. And until then, holla.